republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Go ahead and have a roll call, please.
Martin. Here. Tony. Here. Holtz. Here. Bass.
Here. And here comes Copeland. Give us a here. We just did roll call. All right, 5 members present with Brady currently absent. Go ahead and let Kevin have a seat here. Take a look at the agenda this evening. If there's no changes to it, is there a motion to approve? Motion by Tony. Second by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed. Citizens participation, Mr. Ron Lee.
Yes, sir.
What can we do for you?
Well, basically, I came in to talk about in the front of the meadows.
Okay.
We're having 18-wheelers coming out into our neighborhood. And the biggest problem is half of them can't speak English. And they don't read signage. So we're looking to see if we can put like a bunker right in the middle of that front entrance right there. We've talked already with a few aldermen here and your police chief, and he said that it can be arranged and worked with. But we also have to ask our association how they want to do maybe like the bumper down there by Walmart. Right now we have a plastic barrel up there with reflectors, and it has worked. We haven't had a truck in there since.
Okay.
So we're just asking it to see if it can help the meadows, do something, and even if not, that was the first format of the idea. PE right here.
I got you.
We gotta be 10 feet back off of the highway because of state law. And then we would do something like that if the round barrel isn't approved by the meadows. I know that Missy also lives in my neighborhood. That's why I'm talking with her. Basically, guys, we've had a meeting and we're all just getting tired of this happening to us. And I brought it up that something like this would really, really deter a lot of random 18-wheelers. Most of them coming up there don't have nothing reason to come our way.
Right.
So they're randomly looking for a place to turn around. And they use us to back up into Randy Mace's property. As I tell these gentlemen, we get rude drivers, they won't let them do it. That's why they come in.
Yeah,
Bottom
no,
line.
Lance, as far as this being a city on the street to a subdivision, do you see any problem with this installing something like this to help deter some of the tractor trailers from being able to turn into that entrance, thus causing further issues? I mean, it's a city street at the end of the day.
It's a city street. You can limit the access by physical space, but I don't think you can prevent them from coming in.
No.
Yeah, I mean,
It's almost a visual deterrent,
Right.
not a way physical deterrent. In other words, we're not making it big enough that they can't get in. It'd be centered out of a 25-foot entrance. So you figure what's
right, they see it and they're thinking, well, I'm probably not going to be able to
You
do it.
also lived out there too.
I used to, yes, sir, yeah. So I'm familiar with what's
What we're going on. We're just trying, even if we put a little land thing, we're gonna make it narrow. It's only gonna be about 3 feet, 4 feet wide. It doesn't have to be as big as those pictures there. Because we gotta make it where it's just right.
Sure. What's the association's thoughts on it? To see if you guys had much conversation.
We've had a meeting about it. We're just throwing around some ideas what to do. We have obviously there'll be costs involved, so we might have to do ask people for extra money for dues or something.
Right. To help on the financial stages of getting built or put in. The brick idea is a good thing because right now the barrel, someone did move it one time, but I don't think it was an 18-wheeler.
Sure.
It's one of ours.
Well, you need something more permanent.
Yeah.
I mean, something looks nice, but.
I would think, the association's gonna want it to look nice. As far as it being on city street, city property, I mean, I guess the council can approve to.
I think that one might be a little too big too, that one down there by Walmart, so a little smaller size.
Right.
You know, so.
I mean, we can entertain at least a vote from the council to either allow or disallow something based upon your guys' approval from the association and our street supervisor's approval to approve what the drawing or spec might look like, to even allow it to go on our city street.
Right.
That way at least have the council's permission to pursue it further. I certainly don't have any problem with it. I just wanted to say we need to make sure that, you know, it doesn't, I know like when Jeff Meadows lived in the back, for instance, he had horses, you know. So trucks and trailers hauling personal items or equipment still have plenty of room to enter and exit. I understand that large 18-wheelers are a concern. So just keeping that in mind with whatever you come up with, that, you know, residents out there can still pull horse trailers or whatever they might want to do. A large moving van coming in for a new tenant or something like that wouldn't have any issues, but perhaps the 18-wheeler deterrence, sure, I get it.
Yeah, because like I said, it's just.
I mean, you can still get in there right now,
Yeah.
but it has been a deterrent with that era.
Well, that's
I
okay.
mean,
Well, Wayne, Keefe lives right next door to us, and he has a motorhome fairly large, and he was towing a car, and he said he had no problem coming
Okay,
in.
so great example of that.
And then math-wise, we would get together with the engineer or an engineer, and then figure out the mathematics of how wide it is to the centerpiece, 10 feet back, the whole 9 times.
Council, is there any motion to allow them to at least go ahead and pursue this further, and then they can bring with their findings back to us and to our street supervisor for further approval?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, motion by Holt. Is there a second to this to allow them to explore what options they may have? Second. Second by Copeland. Okay, any other further discussion on it? Again, anything that would be formally approved, we want to bring back to the council for approval. Make sure our street supervisor signs off on it before we allow any construction of anything to begin, but at least this will give you an opportunity to explore your options.
Thank you.
All in favor say aye.
I have one question.
Sure.
I think we probably ought to get the ambulance district and the fire department, so I'll look at that as well.
Fair enough, absolutely.
Because we've got some pretty big fire trucks.
Yeah, I don't want anybody that had any issues getting in or out of there besides 18-wheelers.
And I think that's where the, who engineer, draftsman, will figure that out. And I think Sarah's pretty good at that. I give her the numbers, and she drop the draft.
Yeah, I say bring something back to us and then we can get to.
We just wanted to get this started, guys. So that's why I came in, and thank you for meeting with me.
No problem. Bring an eye, Dave. Very good.
I have a question for Doug or Ben regarding that. So the signs that are along the service road, which clearly aren't working well, that no through traffic, no trucks or whatever, there are some of those. Are those words, I can't remember, are they just words or are they pictures? Do they make ones trucks, big X kind of thing through it, you know, for our drivers who aren't quite.
We have a sign
English
at
based.
the beginning of our development with a truck with a, you know.
It's kind of late by the time they
But
get
Yeah, I know
there.
there's-
by the time they get there.
There's no access to I-44, and those are probably MoDOT signs along DD, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, I know there's stuff through there, but yeah,
The
they
state,
don't get noticed.
Well, they don't read it, they're not reading
Right.
English, perhaps they can see a picture and understand that there.
Makes me feel sick.
Sure.
Is it okay if we leave the barrel there for now?
If it's not obstructing emergency personnel or anything like that,
Okay.
that's not a problem.
Right.
If we start running snow plows or something, we might.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have some
and
issues.
yes,
Yeah, and that's gonna be another thing we want to consider for snow plow guys, making sure it's something that's raised and visible, you know, for them. But anyway, you have our blessing to go ahead and at least pursue it.
and I want to thank you folks for everything that you do for the meadows out there. Thank you very much. I got a meeting us there. You guys have always been there to help me. So, thank you
Not a
very much.
problem, you guys are part of the city.
All right.
All right, anybody else here this evening for citizens participation? Yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say that that project, you know, with the water line all the way.
Oh, the
all the way
looping
through,
project, yes.
It was just wonderful. I mean, that company did a great job, very neat, clean, timely.
Good.
We had no problem at all. They were just really good to work with and pretty good.
Glad to hear that. Appreciate everybody's patience out there, because I know there were water pressure issues with some of the new commercial development. We knew that this looping project
And
had
Glenn
to get done.
Shotley and his crew were
Yeah.
right on, you know, with any questions.
Shouldn't be any issues now with water pressure.
No. It's a
Especially
little
with the-
cloudy right now, but they tell me they're there in a lot of them.
Well, thank you for that. Anybody else here for citizens participation? Hearing none. Approval of the meeting minutes from September 5th, 2023. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Motion by Homie, second by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed. MRPC grant hours. Mr. Attorney, we have an annual renewal with MRPC, just for them to conduct business for the city of Cuba, just typical business that is offered through the planning commission. Part of that is part of our annual dues comes with 15 hours of grant writing that's available to us. This renewal is up just for an annual signature. Is that something that we can just go ahead and sign and give back to them, or do we need to put that into a contract form with MRPC?
I think you can do a motion to ratify that, so if the council is so inclined.
Just to go ahead and sign the renewal and
Yes.
move on with it. So council, that annual membership will include 15 hours of grant writing that's available to us. I know that's important to us. And we do have the opportunity to purchase more than 15 hours, which we would need to do now. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, Jen, are we actually possibly getting 21 with the current allotted fees?
So 15 is with our current basic membership. We could purchase up to, we could do 21 or 27.
Okay. And with the amount of money that we would be agreeing to now on a renewal, is that for 21?
So I put into this to the bills today was 21 because that's what we purchased
Okay.
last year.
So basically, the renewal will give us 21 grant writing hours, and that's a wonderful thing. I just suggest we do our best to use them.
How many did we use last year?
I
0.
don't think we
And the
used
year
it.
before?
I have no idea.
And that's the thing, we get 15 given to us with this membership. We're upping it and getting 21. We need to use these things.
So it was, Kelly mentioned to me that if you're going to apply for any grants whatsoever, that the recommendation is to purchase up, but if you're not planning on applying for grants, you have no inclination whatsoever of doing any projects or applying for grants, then you should probably just stay at the basic level. So that was kind of her advice on that, because one grant can use all of your grant hours.
And we do have that option before we sign a renewal to stay at 21 or reduce it down to the 15. And that's a decision we can make here tonight. It would save us, what, $1,000 or something? You said the difference might have been?
Yeah, it's $22.44 versus $3,034.
So, regardless, we need to renew our partnership with the MRPC because they're a valuable asset. In the event we do have some grants that can be written for us that are available to do that, I guess the decision here tonight would be, we can look at two things. One, just a motion to sign and renew the partnership agreement with the MRPC, and then the second motion, which we can actually do first, would be, do we want to do it at the granted 15 hours, or do we want to purchase the additional 6 hours for 21 total hours? My opinion on that is if we buy more, let's make sure we use them. So,
Who writes on grants?
they would, we just have to direct them to do so. If we're wanting to pursue grant opportunities, we can say, hey, there's a park and rec grant, or there's a water and sewer grant. Could you write this grant for us? There's a lot of information and documentation that we have to provide to them to do that, but they're available to write those grants for us. Absolutely.
I think that's the kicker, is they will write the grant once we've collected all of the data.
You're exactly right, and that takes a lot of work, and then a lot of times what we ran into, especially with the park and recreation ones, is no work can start until the grant is awarded, if it is awarded, and sometimes that may not be for 6 or 8 months or a year, and then we have these projects that we need to complete now. That was one of the main reasons why we didn't pursue any last year, because we were at the point, well, we need to complete these jobs now, we can't wait until we get grants. But if we think far out enough to maybe 2024 of a project that we'd like to see completed, and we can get that drawn up now, we could try for the grant.
And it's my understanding that if we get something drawn up now, we would need to use an engineer or whatever, that is not part of the grant, we're going to have to pay for that ourselves and get that material to them. I would love to use these hours.
Me too.
I would love to know that there's somebody
Right.
that's going to be able to do all that.
I agree. Yes, ma'am.
So she did give me a kind of like a little guideline as to what some of the grants would take, how many hours they did. So the typical governmental grant takes about 20 to 25 hours. And we have to do the environmental work part of the application, and that can take up to 40 hours, so then you would get billed for the remainder. Law enforcement grants can take us anywhere from 15 to 20 hours, and parks grants can be anywhere from 5 to 45, depending on the source. So you are looking at absorbing all or more of your hours, depending on the types of grants that you use, if you apply for one of those types of grants. So, I mean, and then using more of those hours and getting billed extra, so.
And this basically is fiscal year to fiscal year, correct?
It's July, it starts on July 1, they're just behind in their billing, she
So-
said.
I wasn't here when I signed the contract with economic development, that was gonna be part of that deal, did we do that, or?
I don't know that we've signed the official contract, I think they're supposed to bring that back to us.
We signed it.
Okay.
They signed it.
I couldn't remember. Yeah, and I know we want Doug to pursue some of those things for us, we don't have anything for them in the pipeline right now, you know. So, I mean, I get it either way, council, whether we just stay with the 15 and try to get a plan in place, or we stay with the 21, I mean, it's our choice to make, we just need to make one, yes, sir.
I'm gonna go with buying some grant hours, just like you just said, $1,000 all it is for 21 hours.
It's 2244 for 15 or 3034, so around 1,000.
That's not the hard part, though. I mean, the
It's
hard part
using
is the
the
60 hours of work that it takes to grind out all the stuff
Yeah,
that's necessary.
yeah, they're
And,
different.
you can come here on the board and say, we need a grant, okay, get busy,
That's exactly right.
because it's not bad.
They're not easy.
No, no.
But I think the work between us and MRPC can be manageable on a grant, you just have to take everybody working together, so.
I want to make a motion that we buy a few more hours of grant writing. Because I do have a grant I would like to look into.
Is the 21 hours as presented, the $3,049 or whatever that exact number was, is that what we had budgeted for originally?
I believe, yeah, we had 5 for, using subscriptions, so yeah.
So how many hours have we got right now? We
We have 15 right now, until we sign this contract.
only 15.
Right now, let's buy it.
The guy that we're talking about hiring, he'll be the grant writer, correct?
Well, I thought that was gonna be in his contract, but I don't think he made it.
Well, I mean, his description is anything that the city of Cuba wishes. So, yeah, if we want to pursue grants, then that's absolutely right. If that's something that we wish and is not happening, then we certainly don't have to renew our contract with that board next year. But again, we have to even give Mr. Lashley some direction. We can't just say, go write grants. I mean, they don't just, we've got, as a board, we've got to be a little bit more specific in that we have that asset to use. We have MRPC. I just think we need to, we're spending money, we need to figure out a way to apply for some things. You know, I mean,
Like this, we either got a plan to move the city forward with grants, or we sat here and do nothing. I have some plans to move the city forward with grants. We need to buy a few more hours. We can step up the next one, whatever that would be.
okay, so motion by Copeland, to renew the MRPC annual membership to include 21 hours of grant writing. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Second by Bounce.
See if we can get it going.
Anything else, council? I agree, if we're gonna do it. We've got to development group on board now, we need to try to pursue something here. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so we'll renew that annual membership with the 21 hours.
Remember, Cody, we're going to go after a grant for that underground internet, interstate, the electric line going over.
Okay,
You know, we're going to look into that as well.
well, we've got some hours to use, so.
Yeah, that's why I went to first.
I did research that, there are no grants for infrastructure.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Well, we've got plenty of other ideas.
So, in the event, whatever grants that Kevin currently has in mind, other than the one that is available, but, so those things have to come to us
Yeah.
before the grant is approved to present it as a grant, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so we would want whatever the grant application is for X job for X amount of dollars, yes, that would have to be put in motion by this council and agreed upon, and then we can contact MRPC, say we would like your grant writer to go ahead and pursue writing this grant. They start billing hours and they write the grant.
After we get all the stuff together that we need.
Correct. We dabbled in it with the Parks and Rec a little bit, and gathered a lot of data for certain projects, and then come to realize, well, you can't break ground, you can't start anything ahead of time on these, you gotta wait. Well, we don't have time to wait, we had to pursue doing it ourselves.
Can we get a list of things? that-
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm sure MRPC and
You
Jim
can
might
get,
have it.
you can get on the email, and they'll send it daily, you'll get stuff about
Yeah,
it.
I get them all the time.
They are, they can definitely get you a list of anything and everything that's out there.
There's a website out there called Grant Watch.
Grant what?
If you get on their email, they'll send you so much stuff.
Isn't Alderman Martin our MRPC representative?
No, I'm not.
You're not?
Just a minute, no, I'm not.
Do I
I
need to
don't know who it is.
I need to report?
Yeah.
Oh, it's Rodney.
Rodney.
Yeah.
He's getting small over there.
How are those monthly meetings in there going, Rodney?
I've been a few of them on Zoom. Very interesting.
Okay.
Very interesting.
They feed you dinner if you go out there.
Why didn't know that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's gonna change my mind even more than going now.
Alrighty, I know some of the stuff in the bills being paid pertains to that topic itself. Is there any other questions about our bills being paid this evening?
Motion to pay.
Got a motion by House, is there a second? Second by Holt. Question, what happened to car 355?
There's gonna be another.
I came off the highway yesterday, saw a car on the back of the tow truck, and then I see there's one in the middle, so.
Ron was driving it, I guess, so.
Fair enough, nothing
No,
major.
for real, it's having transmission, electronic transmission issues, and it just keeps going, so he's been trying to diagnose it, and I guess, on terms, just needs to take it to the dealership to get it to see it.
So that's what that was for, I suppose.
Yes.
Very good. Any other questions about the bills? First and second to pay the bills, all in favor say aye. Opposed? Bills paid. Blue Bit poll. Somebody here for Blue Bit? There's no Andy here either.
Andy's not here, so I think we're.
So I think on the gentleman who came to talk to us for a little bit about putting internet capability on our polls, I forget the exact specifics on that. Kind of like Charter and some of the other entities have things on our polls. There's some contracts, agreements, there's some fees to be paid, and I think Andy and the gentleman Josh a little bit, we're going to have some further discussion specific to the polls and some of Andy's concerns. So I'm going to go ahead and say that those conversations are still taking place, and we'll table this discussion until a further meeting. So we will move on from that one unless anybody has anything to add to that about the Blue Bit polls. Floodplain administrator appointment. So you might remember years back whenever we were able to designate City of Cuba into a floodplain to allow folks to purchase flood insurance. Part of that was to have an appointed floodplain administrator. Who was it? Was it Bob? I mean, excuse me, Craig.
And then Craig, and then I think Rodney might have been listed for like one term.
Okay. Well, regardless, in order to maintain good standing with our floodplain agreements, we need to have a designated floodplain administrator. And Bob Baldwin agreed to take on that position for us. Just, to attend those meetings or be asked anything that might be asked about it, I suppose.
It goes hand in hand with your building permits. So since he does building permits, he still knows all the codes for that. He said it would be just as easy for him to do.
Fair enough. So we entertain a motion to appoint Bob Baldwin to a floodplain administration. Motion by Kyle, second by Tony. All in favor say aye. Opposed. Thank you for your time serving in that capacity, Rodney.
Oh, you're welcome.
Sure, you did a lot with it.
Yeah.
Very good. Park and Recreation recommendations from the latest Park and Recs committee.
Yeah, the committee met on the 12th and had a couple of recommendations. They want some appointments. They want Roger Bridgman and Stephanie Shelton to be appointed to the board.
Okay. Roger Bridgman coming back on the park board. How about that? I'll be sure to congratulate him.
Does that fulfill?
That should be the two vacancies.
They can keep the people healthy.
Yeah, okay. All right, so first one, Roger Bridgman. Is there a motion to accept the Park and Rec appointment for Mr. Roger Bridgman? Motion. Yeah. Motion by Martin, second by Copeland. All in favor say aye. And who's the other individual? I apologize.
Stephanie Shelton.
Stephanie Shelton. Okay. Motion for Stephanie Shelton by Mouse. Second by Copeland. All in favor say aye. Opposed. Very good.
The other thing is, they recommended reallocation of money from $5,000 from the safety park to go to the sports complex to put in a new metal fence. Jerry came up with the quotes to buy the materials and get it done. Take out all that old rotten wood and replace it with all metal. And make it more difficult to get in there and repair the door on the garage door that was broken into.
Money well spent. So an allocation, and I guess it would be an amendment to their budget. Is that something you're familiar with? Or?
Yes.
Okay.
That's a September thing, right? We can amend the budget in September and
Yes.
December.
So we'll do end of this month, and then, I'll present to you in October.
Okay. So a $5,000 reallotment from one project to the sports complex, along with the necessary budget revision. Do we hear a motion to allow for that? Motion by House, second by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed. Very good.
The last thing is Halloween at the Hood is 10/21. And if it goes the way they're hoping, it's going to be a pretty big deal. So.
Okay. Any information to share on that at this point, like on some of the things that they're hoping to have out there?
Going to be a lot of spooky stuff and trunk or treat and maybe some food trucks and just stuff to get people out to use the park.
Very good. Very good. I would say, Rob Newman, whenever you read these minutes, or if you're listening, contact a member of the Park and Rec Board to get some good info in the newspaper about it. Hopefully it can be a big, nice community event. Because I'm sure there'll be a lot of hard work that goes into it. 10/21/2023. Anything else, sir? Awesome. Anything else for Parks and Rec?
I want to ask Jennifer something. Now, this $50,000, whatever we put in the safety park, was that capital improvement tax or park tax?
It was not, 50?
Okay, but was that capital improvement or park tax?
It's only 17.
It was 17, and it came out of capital improvement. Yeah, it came out of capital improvement.
Alright,
Alrighty. Rec line city property rental discussion. So you may remember we had some dialogue about if individuals are using any of the city properties for any type of non-personal reason, that we might need to make sure that individual carries insurance. I think Laney needs to explore that a little bit further for us. So I'll turn that over to you for your findings.
You guys all had it in your packets. It was just their suggestion on the insurance and who should carry it for these events.
Okay, so basically, any organization that holds an event on city property should have liability insurance for that event, no matter what kind of organization it is, even if it is non-profit or a private organization. If it's a small organization that does not carry its own insurance, it should purchase a special event policy for the event. We strongly encourage the city to work with its attorney to develop an appropriate facility use agreement that includes insurance requirements. As for events sponsored by the city, things like bouncy houses, water slides, and other air-supported structures are considered an increase in hazard and are not covered. So, city-sponsored events do not have to carry any additional insurance. We already have our own insurance. However, if we're going to have any increased hazard type of structure, such as bouncy house or water slide, then we may possibly need to carry something higher to cover that. I do not know exactly what our current use agreements look like. Possibly we could get a copy of that to Lance, and Lance could help us make sure that we have some language in there that says that you have to carry your own insurance liability to hold your event. Do you have a copy of this as well? Okay. And yes, also maybe look at some specific dollar amounts.
I think that's at you guys' discretion, I don't think that they gave a certain.
And your advice was kind of to at least cover the structure and contents of the building, correct?
Correct.
So, $500,000 or something, and I don't even know what that costs. I have no idea like what a certificate would cost to hold an event red line that have $500,000 worth of it. It may be outrageous expensive, it might be super cheap. I have absolutely no idea.
Well, we've had other people that have provided us with certificates of insurance for 3 or 4 days, so.
So what does this kick in on this?
Well,
I can tell you that in the past, we have required $1 million policy on some events, and they have gotten it, so, I mean, it's not unheard of.
and again, this isn't for folks renting out for wedding receptions and baby showers and things like that. It's more of the commercial events, for-profit events, things like that. I do think that the fall festival would meet this criteria, so we talked briefly about that. If Tri-C is normally the one that hosts that event, then they would need to carry that insurance certificate.
Anything that's gonna be open to the public.
So it sounds like we need to put a policy in place. So whatever we need to do to use this language and then add an amount of, I guess it would depend on the building too. If they're using a pavilion at Hood Park or if they're using rec line, there's going to be some different policy coverages. Don't know that anybody would use a rec line pavilion for a commercial event, but I suppose it could happen.
Like out at the park.
Right.
I mean, I think we had an Easter egg hunt there before. Maybe like a benefit, but not too many.
I think it's, in Jimmy putting on a costume ball over there for Halloween.
Maybe, is that a good park?
No.
Oh, down at Redline, I haven't looked at your schedule, I don't know what's down there, what's not. What is he renting it as, like work organization? Himself, and just, if it's open to the public, then he would be required to get an insurance, like a regularly.
Lance, what do you think? How can we get this thing narrowed down to a specific policy?
Well, again, I would focus on anything that is gonna be open to the public. If you have a private event, I'm less concerned. But
So what's something that you charge a ticket for, would that be a private event or a public event?
can you purchase the ticket as a member of the public?
Yes.
And that is a public event.
Okay. I think our client's going to be our main one with this right now. So if we can figure out what we would like the individual policyholders to carry for right line, I don't know if you can get quotes on that, or if they will even quote you or the individual.
I can try and call a couple places who have provided it to us before.
Okay, maybe we'll see what,
it
like
kind of what it costs.
Hey, we're going to have a one-night event here, $500,000 insurance liability coverage. What does something like that cost? All right, and then that might help us determine what we want folks to carry, depending on what that cost would be to them. Because again, I have no idea if it's $20 or $200. I couldn't tell you. And then obviously, I wouldn't say anything less than $500,000 to cover structure right now. Probably $1 million.
So when would we want this to become effective? Because if we are talking about the Cuba Fest, you're talking about 4 weeks.
I totally understand.
They need to be notified.
I don't know that we'll be able to get an ordinance approved and voted on by this council into Lance and read in time for the Fall Festival.
Your next meeting's beginning of October, so we wouldn't have it by.
Do we have a policy in effect now?
We don't. I don't say. Yes, sir.
Why don't we, table let Laney and Lance work on top and bring it to us?
Perhaps, yeah, yeah, there's no doubt that we don't have all the answers right here tonight on how specific we want to be with it. Maybe when we do find out some of the numbers on it, there's been not a million, but there's been annual fall festivals for a long time without this. you know, if it has to go another year, I guess it does, but at least we have a plan in place and we're trying to implement a policy. Also, if it's the Tri-C, we learn more, maybe we could approach them as a city and say, hey, we're working on this to be passed and put in a policy. It's not together yet, but would you guys mind providing us with the proper insurance certificate for your event? And I would think that hopefully they would comply, or otherwise they'd say, well, no, because I don't have to. But I don't know that the Tri-C would do that to us.
But I'm just thinking, for them to get the job done, first of all, they have to know it.
Exactly.
It needs to be done, so somebody's gonna have to do that. And then they have to have some sort of engagement with someone who can provide that for them, and what dollar amount are you suggesting that
Sure.
carry, so,
Yeah.
someone needs to take care of
This
that.
was just kind of the start, this was just the response I got, this is just for us to work from.
I know what that's what
Kind
I'm
of
saying,
see
is,
where it takes us.
Lance, can we go on ignorance is bliss kind of thing, and we've discussed this, so now, if they don't have insurance for Cuba Fest and something happens, or, well, you guys knew this was a problem, where are we at on that?
It's anybody's best guess. Once you have acknowledged the problem, obviously you're on notice, but you can't solve all the world's problems in the first meeting either, so.
So if we don't get it done, we're just gonna.
Well, and we
If
just,
you can't get it done, you can't get it done. I don't know what else to tell you.
and rather than whatever special coverage they buy for the event to cover any damages, heaven forbid, we would just be on hook for the damages since it's our building.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about just.
But yeah, if we can find out like what $1 million policy for an event like that costs, maybe it's a reasonable number and we can get this thing moving forward.
As long as vendors have to have a policy too, like the ones who sell food outside.
Be whoever's hosting or putting on the event would be the ones that has the coverage.
That would be my guess.
Yeah.
So somebody setting up a food booth up there, don't have to pay it.
It would be whoever's hosting and allowing that food truck to be there for them.
Bottom line is this, you're always gonna be responsible for your own negligence. So, the question of whether or not they have purchased insurance doesn't mean that they're not still on the hook. The question is whether or not there's enough assets there to cover whatever liability they have.
Well, more to come on that. As well as probably this next one, the electronic communication management policy. I think Laney may have given everybody some information or examples. If you look in your agenda packet, you'll have this that says Missouri Secretary of State Records Services Division Electronic Communications Record Guidelines for Missouri Government. Fantastic reading material that I encourage all of you, including myself, to look through this between now and probably the next meeting. These are just some recommendations from the state on how electronic policy should be implemented. We were told that we should have one and we need to start that process. So this is the beginning of that process. A brainstorm at the next council meeting, followed by probably a special meeting, which we all love, to at least have some sort of single page or 2-page layout of what we want our electronics communication policy to look like. It's up to us to put something together and pass it and put it into our handbook and put it into ordinance form. So it begins with this little information packet that you have right here. Lance, do you have anything or recommendations to add to how we should proceed with this?
Don't use text messages to conduct city business.
First and foremost, absolutely, rule number 1, which will be
I like it though.
outlined in whatever policy we do create, and I think you will see what Lance just said pointed out in this brochure in probably more ways than one. So keep this to the side, keep in mind that we want to move on this, and we'll have more discussion at the next council meeting. Are there any questions about that at this time? Hearing none. EOC Director Reports, Jeff Orthrani.
We had a meeting with Dave and Curtis this afternoon at 5 to discuss the purchase for a new camera system. And so we talked about a few things, the amounts. labor charges and all that. So currently, if we go with Fortress Security, which is out of Camdenton, right now they're gonna, for everything right now it's gonna be $63,958. I don't know where to go with it. So if we update everything now, we would have to have brand new system at all locations right now.
So this was for probably 10 or 12 locations all throughout around
Something
town.
like that.
And the installation of 7, and the installation of all new camera equipment, as well as any other recording devices that are needed to facilitate those.
So that's all included. And so one thing that the guy was telling me, Tony, is that there's going to be, let me see if I have it in my email. So there's going to be a maintenance fee. So it's going to be a 3-year maintenance fee, $50 per month per year, per location.
Okay, so $350 for 7 locations per month per year for 3 years.
For 3 years.
3,000, 4,100.
Like 72.
It's more or less.
Okay.
50 times 7.
Which, coming on a new budget, we can know we need a budget for that year's
Yeah.
maintenance fees.
So
they have a 3-year warranty on the equipment.
Okay, that's good.
But it's a $100 service fee to come down here, and then $100 an hour to work on it.
Gotcha. Do we have the internet infrastructure needed to support these systems?
We do at at Hood Park we do, the pool we do, animal control we do, the city dump we do, and there's some locations that's charter too. So
Okay.
I think we're gonna be okay. Yeah.
And do you remember for this fiscal year what you budgeted for camera updates?
I think it was 70.
Okay. And then again, last, I know without going into too much detail with what our plan is for locations and timelines, obviously, that there would be a starting point and an ending point, not to give any of those locations away. If we purchase this group of everything that we need, are they okay with us having a timeline to work with to get everything installed and put up as we do some lighting and some other things that we want to do?
Yeah, he said something about he'll work with us on that, and then when the Hood Park project comes, once we get started on that, he'll able to work with us.
Okay. Is there any type of recommendation at this point, or is this informational, or where are we at with it?
Well, I think we want to go ahead and start and go with Fortress Security.
Well, and the reason being, not because it costs so much, but you actually get a license plate reader feature on these cameras.
Yes.
And the others don't.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Anything we can get to help us, I'm all for it.
And then you said also the quality of the pictures were better.
They're a little bit better. I think they're in 4K.
Okay. Well, do we have a motion to go ahead and move forward with Fortress Security and make the needed purchases to go ahead and start updating these camera systems effective immediately? Motion by Bouse, will we hear a second? Second by Phillips. And in the meantime, everything that we have will still be functioning and operable until it's swapped out, so that way everything's still being observed and...
Yeah, we went through. I talked to Wave Internet the other day, so he came down and kind of fixed some things up. So
very good.
Did I miss something? The parts that aren't picking up now? How are we gonna get that to work?
Are you talking the Hood Park? Or the cameras that aren't working now?
Yeah, what are we gonna do about, is that gonna be
That's
included in that?
I think part of that is a maintenance problem. Lightning is struck and nobody wants to replace
So
the
the
camera.
smart complex has 0 right now.
it's back up.
That's my understanding.
It's back up. That's back up.
Oh, it's back up.
Yes.
Yeah, it's back up.
Is the camera back up like it's?
They put a new one.
They put a new one.
There's a new
Yes,
one.
sir.
Yes.
I heard you say 7 locations for cameras, is that correct?
Yeah.
Which ones would
There's 13, I believe, currently, which ones will go away.
Talk about that off the
We're
record.
talking about that.
Talk about
That would be a closed session.
Because anything that's in existence now and operating and that needs to operate, we're still gonna maintain and make sure it's working and then phase the new ones in at the same time. To make sure that we're continuously covered through the new rollout. Anything else on that? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay. Excited for the project, excited to get moving forward on that.
I'll call him tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome.
Number one. I made a copy left on my desk.
Do what?
Like, we have a resignation from an officer, our current sergeant.
Okay. So, to whom it may concern, Officer William P. Moreland has submitted his resignation, and I suppose at a 2-week notice.
Well, when you wrote that, it's for the end of the month.
For the end of the month. Okay. Going back to his old job at ODOT. So we have a motion to accept Officer Moreland's resignation.
I don't want to, but I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion by Bass, second by Martin. All in favor say aye. We wish him well and thank him for his time and service. So I'm pretty sure I know what your next question is. Yep. Go out for advertisements for a police officer, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. How long you want to run this thing?
A day?
Well, probably need to go longer than that.
2 weeks, that's all.
Okay, so 2 weeks, run it in the newspaper and all social media that we normally run these type of ads in. That means it will probably hit the paper. I don't know what today's date is. It'll hit next week. So run it to that week. I mean, our next council meeting will be October 3rd, but that would only put it in the paper for 1 week. So we're probably going to want to need to run this thing until Friday, October 13th, and then get somebody hired at the 17th meeting in October. Is that timeline realistic for you?
That's what we can do.
What's that?
That's what we can do.
Can you make it till then?
What's that?
Can you make it till then?
Okay.
Okay. So a motion to run for the Cuba police officer position, entry level position.
As of now, yes.
Okay. Yes, sir. Oh yeah, motion by Baus. Second by Honey. We'll run that. All applications submitted due by 3 p.m. on October 13th. That'll give you guys time to have a committee meeting before that Tuesday meeting and hopefully have a good candidate for us. October 13th. Yes. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, go out and find you a new officer. What else?
So I know I've talked with Kevin, I talked with Jeff, I talked with Dave, and Dave sees some of the work. What we're doing, I know pretty much getting a new police department and getting the money for that, the price of things, is just not going to happen at this time. So we've pretty much come up with, we're going to put some lipstick on our police department. It's not a bad location. It just needs a lot of help, so I started working on it. We had a kitchen, basically the kitchen cabinets all donated. I took the time to uninstall the old kitchen and we installed the new kitchen. And it's
nice.
good. Taking care of everything. I've done that, saved the city a bunch of money there. So now I'm going to ask the city to do me a solid. Here we go. So starting with the floors, which is in the budget, I did get a couple of bids. One from our current cleaning, and that is to scrub them. I went ahead and sealed them. I don't think I needed to, but I went ahead and sealed them only because there's some reasons. I explained it to Rainey why I did that, but I sealed them so that we can open them, tell you what the bids are. From our current,
So this is for what?
this is the scrub, polish, and wax our white top floors in the police department.
Okay.
Not the courtroom. That's a separate bid. Because I believe that it will come out of the court budget.
Gotcha.
So just for the police department white floors is $2,700.
Yeah, just-
Their title,
Huh?
their title, of course, title.
Is that,
Like schools.
you just have one bid?
Huh? I got 2 of them.
Okay, so one is for 2,700, and who's that bid from?
Sparklight.
Sparklight, for $2,700, okay. Bid number
The other
2.
one that came in from ServPro, that was somebody gave me their information. I didn't know they were a full construction business, so I thought they were just cleaning up. Their bid came in for tiling our floors at $1,750.
So it's like I got 2 bids for the tile floor, cleanup and recovery on the police department side. One for 2,700 from Sparklights and one from 1,750 from ServPro.
Motion to accept the one from ServPro for 1750.
Motion by Mouse, second by Tony to accept ServPro for 1,750. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, very good.
So on behalf of the court, which is located inside the police department, Sparklight has also put in a bid for the courtroom floors. Their bid came in at $2,000. And from ServPro, who also put a bid in, came in at $1,390.
Okay, heard it there, folks. 2,000 for Sparkle, 1,390 from ServPro for the courtroom floors. Motion by Mouse for ServPro, 1,390. Second by Tony. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Very good.
So our floors are going to be looking nice because we're going to get them done. So let them know they'll be able to come and get them done.
The new clerk's office looks really good.
Don't scuff them all up.
Oh, well, the rest of the floors, all the offices are going to be done too. They can't, that's a budget item. Those will be getting done individually as the guys have time to do those. So I went ahead, because it's a lot of painting, I put in the budget not near enough money. So I had ServPro also put in a bid for painting all the interior walls, except for my office and kitchen. And the exterior, giving this thing a proper uplift, a facelift for our police department. So the amount of money that I budgeted it wasn't near enough, according to ServPro's estimate. I don't have it yet. I just got an idea of what it is. They kind of gave me an idea, and I don't with the estimate. I called a couple other people for bids, and haven't been able to get anybody to call me back or even answer the phone, so it's kind of tough. But with that being said, I know it's going to be in the area of 30 plus thousand. That's interior and exterior painting. That also fixes all the damaged walls. There are holes in the walls. I think Tony's seen some of the holes in the walls and things like that we showed him. It replaces all the baseboard, the base coat, what do they call it?
Go base.
Code base, yeah, I was saying that. That replaces all that as well. And, the painting, because of the color of it's going to take
You gonna sandblast the exterior?
they will do whatever prep it needs. They're taking care of all the prepping, all the everything. I don't have to worry about anything. So that's, unless I can try to find something. Power washer, sandblast, or whatever it is they do. So with that not being in my budget, I'm asking the council to amend the budget a little bit for that so that I can get done and taken care of.
Did you budget anything for?
Somewhere in the area of around 8 to 10.
Okay, so way off.
Yeah,
So this is
I'm not-
something,
I don't
Joe,
get jobs.
that's something that you can do for the one.
I know speaking with Jeff, I know I spoke with Kevin before, I think it's
Kevin
feasible.
asked for that money to be put in out of, capital improvements to buy that property that we didn't buy, so that money's in the budget, we can use some of that for.
Yeah, we could probably do a budget revision to take 30 of that.
Well, I'm gonna, wait, before you say just 30, before you just say 30, let me go, there's more.
I see Jennifer's eyes getting big back there, so.
Well, with trying to make the police department more secure and stuff like that, we'd like to move I already talked to Jerry a little bit. He's building a wall for me. I mean, that's a minimal cost to put a few 2x4s up and a couple sheets of sheetrock. But also moving our interior double doors that's at the office. If anybody's been through the first doors, there's a double door there. We want to secure that, but along with that door and 5 other doors, we want to go to a fob system. Fob systems usually cost, we haven't gone out for bid for that yet. We did ask some people about what they cost. We just want a price. It's in the area of somewhere between $6,000 and $8,000 for a fob system. We believe. Don't have a bid on that yet.
Are you gonna replace the doors too?
So is there those?
We have, I don't know, we're gonna replace it with one solid wooden door, a larger one. It's got double doors in there. It's very easy to just push right through them. Kevin, it's all sheetrock anyways. Anybody can go through sheetrock, we know, but at least there's 2x4, 16 inches apart. But that double door, it's easy to go through if someone wants to push on it. So we want to move that to a single door with a fob system. So these are some of the things that I'm foreseeing, I'm looking for. It wasn't budgeted for, but if we're getting the police department done, I want to get it done.
Well, here's my thought. You know, the 6,000 to 8,000 on the fobs is kind of with the necessary revisions, of course. That's kind of like the money that you already budgeted for the $8,000 to $10,000 on the paint. Okay, so that kind of covers that one. Still need to come up with an additional $30,000 for the actual painting and interior, exterior needed fixes on the walls. If that's going to have to be, and again, that's where Jennifer comes in, and you guys can sit down and talk about it. Whether you're kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul by moving money from something that was already budgeted and putting it towards this project, or taking capital improvement money and doing a budget revision to use capital improvement money. If you're asking for the council's blessing to be able to approach Jennifer and have those conversations for budget revision time, we can certainly entertain a motion to allow you to do that, and then that would allow you and Jennifer to be able to work together between now and budget revision time to see if you can make this work. Does that sound fair to you?
Yeah.
We're at budget revision.
Yeah, so I mean, like, when would we normally be doing that? Here this month? Amendments and revisions?
Quarter ends September 30th, and
Okay.
then I will present revisions the second meeting in October.
Also, in my opinion, just my personal opinion, you know, by doing this, it is saving the city a ton of money. I know the building's not the best, but you're trying to make it better. And, you know, a budget revision for $30,000, in reality, capital improvement money's already been budgeted, as a heck of a lot cheaper than building a new police station. There's no doubt about that.
So I just have a quick question. You have 36.6 budgeted for building improvements. Is this on top of that 36.6 that you're asking for all the solutions?
I thought we had $30,000 in the budget.
Do what?
So you can use some of
No,
that.
a lot of that's flooring. The flooring that was approved, that's going in the offices. I don't have my sheet with me, I should have brought it, but I have it now.
Put specifics on here, so that's fine.
Well, let's just start with this. Council, do we hear a motion to allow for Doug to proceed with Jennifer to work on a potential budget revision to make these necessary improvements?
I'll get that motion.
Okay, so we got a motion by Martin, we got a motion by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Very good. Now you guys can team up together to do the specifics of it on how you want that to look. And then when we see the next budget revisions and we pass those, it'll be then. Okay. Very good. What else you got for us?
I just want to say thanks for stepping up and doing this. I hadn't been on there in a lot of years, and it was an embarrassment to walk through there.
Well, it still is in some parts, but we're still working on it.
But you're working on it.
Yeah, we're just working on getting it cleaned up.
Good.
So, patrol car, we budgeted for 2 of them. We got the blessing to do the first one, we haven't got it yet, we're picking it up tomorrow. But they also have the second one ready.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go ahead and get the approval, we'll pick up the second one for 23,000.
Motion to do.
Okay, motion by Bow, second by Holt, go ahead and move forward with the second budgeted police car. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Very good.
Get it before the highway patrol decides to keep them.
Right. Again.
Car start.
Alright, have our canine, about 5 years old, almost 6 years old. We usually retire around 8 years old, but our canine is also now almost useless because of the passing of the marijuana laws, since that's what he's also trained to detect. Anytime that's in a vehicle, that along with anything, that's what it will hit on. So basically, what I'm asking is if it's okay if we start looking into a grant from the Department of Agriculture, which is where we got the last grant, I believe, for a lot of the canine equipment, which will also cover the dog, if we can contact the rep for that and see if we can't get a grant going for a new canine animal. If the council so wishes, we stick with canine. We do have a canine vehicle, a canine officer, we have everything we need to sustain a different dog, except the dog that we get would basically just be a narcotics drug detection dog.
Not a patrol dog. Not a patrol dog.
Patrol dog. Yeah, it'll be a patrol dog. It won't be a bite dog. I mean, still ride the vehicle and sniff out cars that won't sniff for marijuana.
And then what happens with the current dog?
We figured out how to retire it after we get that grant. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen real fast or we'll see.
Right.
That's something that I will know answers until I reach out to the rep with the grant.
So fact-finding mission to see what grants are out there and what timelines look like. Basically, is what you're asking for at this point in time. Any motion, council, to allow Doug to pursue canine grants? Motion by Baus, second by Honey. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Yeah, see what's out there, I suppose.
There's more.
You are awfully needy tonight.
I don't want anything. So I looked more into the Bond Street issue that we had at the Mouse Council meeting. We were wanting to just no parking on Bond Street from Fair Street down to Wildcat. And the question is, well, people might want to park out there. Here's the problem I have. I went and looked. I had more complaints coming in. They actually go to the school first because the residents know it's high school students parking there, and it's handled by the school resource officer, and she let me know about it. But people aren't getting their mail delivered because the kids are parking in front of mailboxes. And driveway, mailbox driveway, I mean, there's no way to put signs this close and no park right here. It's just easier if we just close off no parking on Bond Street from Fair Street, Wildcat, on both sides. Now, if we don't do that, we just figure out what the current ordinance is and tell everybody else that lives there, sorry about your luck.
Can we do that on a time thing, like no parking from say 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. or?
Yes, that's what I asked for.
Yeah, I would do it definitely the time restriction, Monday through Friday, 7 to 4 at the very least. And then I also, my concern, I think all of our concern was, well, what about folks that live there? Well, I think if we're pursuing a vehicle and we're looking to write a citation and we discover that it's a residence owner's car, we could probably have that conversation with them before we have to offer a private ticket.
The other option to that I thought about, because I heard that, was, if there are spaces that don't interfere with the mailboxes. Some houses have mailboxes on their house and some are out on the street. So I don't quite understand that on the street. But if a placard was given to them to be permitted to park in front of the residence, they have a placard to give to their friends to park on the road during the day, if necessary.
Yeah, and again, I think if you're on patrol and you see a vehicle there, it won't take much investigation to figure out if it's somebody who probably be at school a day or if somebody's visiting their friends here and to drop off some muffins, right? Not really committing a crime. So it can be handled case by case too. If there's a motion to be had, let's hear it, or further discussion, or wherever we're at with it. But it's definitely a nuisance and a problem that needs to be figured out one way or another. What's your guys' thoughts?
I'm good with the 7 to 4, whatever I would choose. Tuesday through Friday.
Tuesday through Friday, yeah.
Well, if we write the ordinance Tuesday through Friday and they decide to go back to the 5-day school week, then we're going to change it a lot.
Well, we can change it.
We can change it then, right? this year.
They're not gonna put a piece of
You
tape.
don't think they will?
No.
I'm really hoping they will.
I say we do it Tuesday through Friday. 7-4. What does a typical sign look like for this scenario? I guess you can make them to say whatever you want. I know that, but I guess you make them to say whatever you want. No parking Tuesday through Friday from
No parking.
7-4.
Five's no good for it.
How about no parking during school hours?
That would cover both sides there.
We would have to go Monday or Tuesday, would we?
You don't have to say it, just during school hours.
Well, you get the big bucks.
Somebody's busy, might not know what school hours are.
Right.
It can go either way. I've seen
Well, again,
the time
you know,
frames, I've seen them.
Consider anytime there's like a home football game, all those streets are full. If there's graduation or if there's a band recital or something, but those are specific events, I think the neighbors, and they're usually in the evening, but the neighbors and everybody understand that there's something going on. It's not every single day when the mail is trying to run. And we know why people are parking over there to avoid parking on the school parking lot, things like that, so. Yeah, where are we at? No parking during school hours? We can just get a sign that says, that's it, no parking.
You're probably gonna need a sign about every 300 feet.
Yeah, and both sides of the road, so.
And then Lance, do we need to get some sort of ordinance drawn up so this is enforceable, obviously?
Yes.
Okay,
Just
so,
like one of the ordinances that we have for this evening.
yay, let's get to those so we can read them.
I'm very pushing the legs to do that.
Okay, so motion to allow or to go ahead and start the process for no parking on Bond Street from Fair to Wildcat Pride Drive. Both sides, east and west sides, during school hours.
Prairie Street's gonna get overloaded now.
It already is.
Well,
They already
cross
parked
that bridge when we get there. Okay, is there a motion? Motion by Martin, second by Bass, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Lance will get you that ordinance or language for next meeting.
Hey, Doug, this house has been, on the nuisance list forever, but on Oak Street at the top of the hill, across from, Mary and Randall Lewis. I was working with Cameron for a while, trying to find out who owned that house. We need to pursue that. I'm getting all kinds of grief. The people there now are starting to pay someone to chop the weeds down. And they're wanting the city to reimburse them, and we need to figure out who owns that house so we can get them out there and get taken care of.
Alright.
Say what the lot across the record, I think it costs like that.
He there constantly starts cleaning up, makes it better, and then lets it go.
Now this big
Or you talk about the Henry lot.
Yeah,
Not the guys.
across from the record, now there's a big old tree that's falling over there.
Didn't we used to send you down the brush hog and put a lien on it?
On which one?
On
The lot across the way.
everybody to mow.
I think that's cared for by one of the banks, isn't it? Isn't it Federal Bank? It is.
But I mean,
The lot across the bank, so that's always over.
I have went those some lots before.
yeah. Maybe we need to do that.
Hey Doug, get hold of Bob, he's got the name of the,
You got time to do
person
that here?
that cut that grass.
Sure.
Bobby's got the name of that person that cut that
I'm
grass.
gonna make a motion.
Oh, across the way.
Yeah.
Okay, I asked, is this your?
I heard it. Okay. Anything else, Council?
Okay, I make a motion that we send Jerry down to that lot across the wagon wheel to the brush hog bed and put a lien on the property.
Oh, okay.
I'll second that.
I think we need to go through a few more steps before we do that, based upon our
It needs
ordinance.
to be posted.
Haven't you already sent them letters? Cause I know it's been complaining.
I know the last time it was complained about, I believe they mowed it.
No, it hasn't been mowed all year, and it's been complained about all year.
Who's the
Alright,
other guy?
person knows.
I don't know.
Which direction from Wyoming?
Straight across the street from Wagon Wheel.
Across
There's a big-
66?
big
Yes,
tree.
it's a big lot right there.
I think it's 908.
Just checking on if that's a nuisance.
Do we gotta send them a letter first, asking to cut before we go on?
You have to put them on notice before you go on the property.
I do not recall the council making any official motion to send any type of certified mail or anything to that regard, no.
Please pursue that nuisance complaint on that property.
So I'll change that motion.
Me too.
I make a motion that we notify the property owners that they need to mow it, or we are going to mow it for them.
How about we just make a motion, we're gonna follow our ordinance?
Yeah, let's,
How about we don't need a motion? We just
yeah, we already have,
Nuisance complaint.
I think we got one. I think that's the other thing we can, cut that grass and just put it on the bill.
Yes,
Well,
there is,
we
you have
do,
to
but
follow
there's
the
a-
process.
Yeah,
There's a
yeah,
process
yeah.
to it.
there's a
Remember
step
that.
1, a step 2, and a step 3, so follow up with Cameron and have him begin step 1 if needed.
Okay.
So no motion?
No.
Right.
No motion.
He just needs to start with step 1 and report back to us.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Motion for first reading bill number 2112. Everyone.
Why don't have it?
Oh,
No purpose.
they're coming. All right, try that again. Motion for the first reading bill number 2112. Motion by second by Mouse. All in favor, say aye. Opposed? First reading, please.
An ordinance amending section 23-47 of the Cuba City Code, section regulating parking for Cuba, Missouri, to prohibit parking on both sides of Maiden Lane from Glassy Avenue to Interstate View.
Okay, heard first reading bill 112. Is there a motion to accept? Motion by Bass. Second by Holt. Hold the council, please.
Copeland.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Holtz.
Yes.
Bass.
Okay, first reading moves with a vote 6-0. Motion for second reading of bill number 2112. Motion by Honey. Second by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance amending section 23-47 of the Cuba City Code, section regulating parking in Cuba, Missouri, to prohibit parking on both sides of Maiden Lane from Glassy Avenue to Interstate View.
For the second reading, is there a motion to accept? Motion by Honey. Second by Holt. Hold the council, please.
Bass.
Yes.
Holtz. Tony. Martin.
Yes.
Copeland.
Yes.
Okay, second reading moves with a vote 5-0. That is now General Ordinance 1224. Is there a motion for the first reading of bill number 2113? Motion by House, seconded by Holt. All in favor say aye. Opposed? First reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri, on behalf of said city, to enter into a non-terminal agency agreement with Crawford 911 for use of mules and NCIC access.
For the first reading, is there a motion to accept? Motion by House, second by Honey. Hold the council, please.
Copeland.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Holtz. Bass.
Okay, first reading moves to vote 5-0. Is there a motion for the second reading?
Motion.
Motion by Martin, second by Faust. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Second reading, please.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor of the city of Cuba, Missouri, on behalf of said city, to enter into a non-terminal agency agreement with Crawford 911 for use of mules and NCIC access.
For the second reading, is there a motion to accept? Motion by Holt, second by Faust. Hold the council, please.
Bass.
Yes.
Holtz.
Yes.
Tony.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Copeland.
Yes.
Okay, motion moves with the vote 5-0. It is now special ordinance 894. All right, old unfinished new business. Mr. Copeland.
One thing, Cody, I like to go out to bids on the lake, clean the lake out. We cleared the budget. I think we need to go out, get this cleaned up.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, I don't disagree. It's a budgeted item. Don't know what the best time of year for that is, or if there is a better time of year to do something like that. I have no idea.
Well, if we get it done sooner, it's better, because the winter time will fill back up.
Okay.
Frankie Todd approached me and asked if perhaps the Lions Club could restock it after we get that done.
Yeah, that'd be great. Absolutely, they can do this kid fishing events out there and stuff like that. Well, let's try to get that thing cleaned out, so, excuse me, a motion to, solicit bids for the cleaning and needed maintenance for the lake at Hood Park. Motion by Copeland, is there a second? Second by Holt. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. I guess we'll run that paper for a couple of weeks on, Hood Park Lake cleaning and needed maintenance upkeep. I don't know how you want to word that. And,
Bids to clean and maintenance?
Get rid of all the
okay, very good, what else we got?
I'm done.
Okay, Ms. Martin?
I don't have anything.
Very good.
At the last meeting, you authorized me to go out and pursue the host camper situation in the park. Had a meeting with all the supervisors except the gas department. But basically, we come up with a place and minimal cost to dig everything in. It may take a couple of years. First year might be gravel, second year might be blacktop. But looking at 2 sewer drops, one for the host camper, one for a dump station, both of them relatively close together. It will be where the water retention pond is when you first go in the gate at Hood Park, just upstream from the caboose.
Okay.
Yeah, there's an area there that has a grass road. It used to be gravel, but it's all grass now. It kind of curves around, and we use that for the dump site. And really, there's nothing that has to happen except we have to put a surface down. And the sewer is right there, electric is right there, and the water is right there, so everything's pretty minimal. So I would like to get that marked up in the next couple of weeks, get everybody out there with a can of paint and some stakes and mark it up. And if you guys want to drop by there sometime before the next meeting and look at it and give me suggestions. And I talked to Lance, he was pretty sick, but we had a conversation about what we're going to advertise for in the job description of the people that we're going out there. So if you've got any ideas of what you want those people to do, of course, we're looking for minimal cost. Of course, they're gonna get their camper fee and their water, sewer, and electric, included. But the state pays like $150 a week for a couple as host campers. And they have a list of responsibilities, and they're different for every state park.
Okay.
So, having someone there from 6 o'clock at night until the sun comes up every day would be a benefit. And having someone there 24/7 on weekends would be a benefit.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what some of the language looks like for like the state park host campers. I think it would definitely be similar to that. And then my other big thing would just be, again, Lane's just liabilities and,
well,
insurance and liabilities.
Yeah, they would have to have their own insurance and, their own maintenance, and their unit has to be in good looking condition and working condition. All those things will be in the language, I'm sure. Basically, just want to have a nice, clean looking camping spot when people come into the park.
Yeah.
But more importantly, I want that person to have 911 on speed dial and be able to take care of the park.
Sure. I like it.
So,
yeah, you want a motion to try to get the guys to go out there and at least start taking some stuff off?
I would.
Okay.
And I would like permission also to start building the language for that. I'd like to start advertising in February.
Okay.
Because those people are pretty much where they're gonna be by March or April.
Yeah, basically said, throw a ball in your court on this one and you're doing it, so thank you for that. Just keep Lance.
Are we thinking that somebody's gonna live there all year long, or?
Well, they probably wouldn't be there during the winter months because it would cost too much to winterize a trailer and try to live in it as well.
Okay, so we're thinking like March,
And October, yeah, first of November.
Okay.
The only sticking point will be the fair time. And I think we're just gonna have to work with the fair board and, if we're gonna be there, they're gonna be there. It's just that the carnival people will be eating in their backyard.
Yeah.
Have a lot of lights on.
Yeah, and obviously there'll be some music playing in the backyard and some different things taking place. Okay, well, yeah, a motion to allow Alderman Honey to go ahead and work with the city utilities to start identifying some possible infrastructure. Motion by Martin, is there a second?
What?
To allow him to get with the utility guys and start doing some spraying and staking on some potential utility layups.
I'd like to see where it's at.
That's the whole idea.
Well, that's the whole
Yeah.
idea, yeah.
Okay.
Let them stake it out, then you can go see it.
And then we'll vote on it to do.
Yeah, this is still exploratory, but it allows them to go ahead and start that process, so. Motion by Mark, second by Faust, all in favor say aye. And then, yeah, I think just keep working on your language and bring whatever you bring to us, we'll just eventually compile it all into one solid draft.
Yeah, hopefully before the next meeting, possibly by the end of the month, I'll have it staked out so you can go over there and look at it before the next meeting.
Sounds good. Anything else, sir?
Nope, that's all.
Curtis?
I'm good. Go ahead, man.
I got a few things.
Okay.
I got city workers today who, he got a letter from the Department of Revenue about his, DOT fiscal. Is the city still paying for those for the employees?
Yes.
I told him I was unsure. I said check with his insurance, and because sometimes they will offer those for free. I said, but if they do not, then I said approach your, committee.
Do we have a place that we, send them?
I know Dr. Black does them.
Nor than I know where. I can track them down, but I don't know.
So if they get it, they go get their physical turn bill in, they'll be reimbursed.
Yes.
Okay. And that's one thing. The other thing, I just want to talk a minute about that police officer that turned in his resignation. I don't know if you guys have had many conversations with our police officers. We have an exceptionally great police department. Those guys are very, very professional. They step up when they need to. They're very polite in the community, and we're training them for other places. I think we need to look into raising our pay to keep these officers. I've had several conversations with some of them. They stop by my house regularly. There's a lot of them that are looking to move on, and we don't want to be the training spot for police officers. And I know Doug will have to keep training officers. So I just think we need to look at the pay and look at the pay, what they're paying around, and try to get compatible. That's all I had on that one. I got Adam to move from this building over here, and I talked with Kim, and I don't know what part that Kim was going to take, but she'd kind of like to have that building. Is there a private spot that she was going to get in?
She was only gonna take the first 15 feet of where Rodney was. Adam didn't
Is
even
it
move.
petitioned off?
It is positioned on.
Okay, so the DAV could use that one, correct?
Well, I had the appearance when Adam left, the tourism board was gonna take where Adam.
Yeah, that's what they're wanting to do, yes.
Okay.
So, and Bruce told me all he needed room for was a desk and a file cabinet. Is that gonna work?
I mean, it can, I don't know what they're gonna do, whatever.
Well, he just needs a place to meet with people, to talk to them. If it's private, it'll work. Because he doesn't need a whole big space. And the tourism board, they probably need a little more room. That's where we're at with that. Kim would like to have that side of the building, and Bruce doesn't need a very big space. So I want to check into that more, I guess. Maybe I can meet with Bruce.
Makes no difference to me as long as it works for Rodney's equipment.
Yeah.
I mean,
involved.
it's fine, I know I was talking to Wayne a while ago about there's a little room off here, used to be one of the main entrances here to the fire department. The Red Cross was using it at one time. I don't know if they're using it anymore. It's a good spot. It's plenty of room, but
For Bruce.
Yeah.
He said didn't he say he used that once before?
I think so.
I think he used the DOC once.
No, I think he was over here once before too. But, well, we could look at it, so.
I mean,
Adam's moving forward with it, we're at a standstill till we figure that out.
Adam's moved, so, you know, as long as everybody's, Ronnie deserves to have his space, obviously, and then tourism and a little spot for Dave would be great. If we need Dave to look at the Red Cross area. I don't know if it's climate control over there or not, you know, that might be an issue.
I don't think it is.
You probably would need some heat and air.
Let me know, because I could figure something out for him.
Yeah, I'll get with you.
Yeah.
So, you got a key that we can get in our after hours, correct?
I do.
Okay, yeah. So, I'll get with you this one evening this week.
Yeah, that's fine.
And that's all I have, other than, have we found out anything on the crosswalks on 19?
Bill was gonna get back to us on that.
They haven't got back to us yet? Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that he called me the next day on that, and, you know, it's definitely all in MoDOT's hands, and I think he was gonna try to climb that ladder, but that's a difficult ladder to climb, I think, so I'll follow up with Bill on that.
Okay, that's all I have.
Very good. Anything, Lenny?
Motion.
Motion to adjourn by Tony,